And we welcome you back to KCBD Now. Kirk Kaiser with you on a Thursday morning, and we are continuing our visit right now with Shania Jackson. She magically appears before your eyes. Shania, you've talked about home. Tell me where home is.
Yes, I'm from Arlington, Texas.
Okay.
Where the Cowboy Stadium is currently.
Right.
I wasn't always there, of course. I went to Arlington High. It's also where John Robinson went to school.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
Yeah, whenever I
Oh.
first switched to doing the weather. That
The
was like,
Colts?
yeah, kick him.
Kick them. Okay, I got a story there, but keep going.
Okay,
All
yeah.
right, so Arlington Colts, and then how did you get to Tech?
So I applied for 3 different colleges whenever I was getting ready. I knew that I wanted to either stay in Texas or I was going to go to OU because they
Okay.
had a good journalism program. Like I said, I knew from the beginning what I was wanting to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
So I applied to Texas Tech. I applied to OU, and then my third one was Texas State, I think, because I also was thinking that I didn't want to go anywhere that was too far, and I didn't want to stay close to home. So like TCU and Baylor were immediately out. I was like,
Okay.
my parents will drive.
Too close.
Yeah, they will drive and see me every
don't wanna go
single
in the
day.
backyard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that.
Good idea.
And so whenever I got into all of them, my debating factor between Tech and OU was pretty much like money. Like I got way more money from Texas Tech than I did from OU. And then I decided that Lubbock was far enough. I was like, it's close enough to where my parents can come see me if they want
Right.
to see me, but they're not going to do a 5-hour drive just for fun, you know? And I also had maybe like 2 friends, very distant friends, but friends who went to Tech. So my mom also felt kind of good about that because she was like, you don't really know anyone at OU right now. At
Yeah.
least you'll know 2 people. If you really needed emergency help, you know 2 people at Texas Tech. So best decision I ever made. Guns
Good.
up.
Guns
Love
up.
me some Red Raiders.
Yes, you could not be a Sooner. I can just tell by looking at you, you're not a
Yeah.
Sooner.
And,
No.
and I made the right choice.
You made the right choice
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So studying journalism right from the start. I mean, you
Yes.
knew, and again, you knew what you wanted. I mean, you talk about being a little girl. So all during school,
Yeah.
you're pretty set
And
on
like
being on TV.
even to a point where I feel like in grade school, I pretty much only focused on any classes that had to do with English reading or write, like any type of communications. If it was like math or science, I was like, I literally don't care. I'm just gonna do whatever I need to do to get a good grade. My parents were like, you know, you need to be a straight A student. So I still got good grades, but I'm getting like
Okay.
a 98 in English, and I'm getting like a 90 in whatever
Oh.
math I'm taking at the time.
Much
you know?
better than me, Shania. Much better. Yes, yes, you did well then.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I would say probably in like 4th grade is when I really decided that's what I was going to do, and like really
Mm-hmm.
tried to start focusing on like reading a lot and like making sure that, you know, my language and my vocabulary was large, and also just having any type of speaking skills that I could develop like at an early age. Like I was one who was like, I'm going to volunteer like to read just so I
Mm-hmm.
can practice. I don't really care about reading whatever the story is. Like I'm trying to think
Yeah.
long term, you know?
Yeah,
And so when I came to Tech, I did dual credit in high school as well. So I didn't take any English classes here because I had already like tested out of them pretty much. But when I came to Tech, I did all the journalism classes. And then my last year, my senior year, when I went to DC, I wound up testing out of, or I pretty much swapped the classes. So instead
Okay.
of me needing to take
internship
12
counted,
hours,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that counted for me. So I didn't wind up taking like a lot of the senior classes that most senior journalism majors wind up taking. But my first semester of my senior year, in the fall, I did like the media law classes, all those like higher level classes that you do for political science and for journalism. And I still in that moment felt like that's what I wanted to do. Like I was like, I love these classes. Like, you know, when you get into the later class and you're like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to do.
Right,
School
right.
kind of gets fun because you're
Yeah.
like, this
Yeah,
is
you're
actually
doing
what I
you
want to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes
And
sense.
so it was honestly like going to DC because also when you're on the Hill, you see a lot of reporters there and you get to meet
Oh,
them
for
and talk
sure.
to them and you get to observe, you know, what it's like being a reporter there. And I was like, I don't want to be one of them. But I think also Arlington High, I don't know how their curriculum is now, but we had like newspaper class, but it was more of like, that class was for like people who were in charge of like yearbook. You know what I
Okay,
mean? Like
yeah.
we didn't really put out, like we didn't have any type of anchoring for sure. We didn't have any type of TV program. I think like the most speaking that I did for the school was like being a cheerleader for one, or like doing the announcements.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really have any type of
That wasn't
actual-
video, it's just audio.
Yes, yeah.
you
So
know,
I really
yeah.
didn't realize, okay, yes, I want to do this until I got to college, which was really helpful because I was like, okay, yeah, I didn't get that much experience because a lot of people I feel like in high school or LISD TV, for example, like
Yeah.
they have a great program and I would have done anything to have that in high school because I think that would have just put me however many steps ahead of everyone else, like whenever you do get to college, because Tech does have MCTV, which I did do whenever I was in college there, and that was great and a good experience as well. But yeah, I feel like high school didn't really shape me for it, but I do feel like I was still interested in it outside of school, and I was still I just knew I was going to talk. I was going to do something that was talking, so it was still good to focus on English just in general.
Sure.
You know?
Now, you mentioned LISD TV. That's exactly what I thought of. I think, I tell people that want to get into broadcasting, sure, you're going to learn things from books. You need to get your degree.
Yeah.
However, to do what you want to do, to get in front of the camera, you need to just get in front of the camera.
100%.
And exactly what you did. You practiced a lot in front of
Yeah.
that green screen, and there's no substitute for that.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can, or I don't think, I know this. You can't read in a book how you do it. And you learn when you're doing this business
Yes.
little things that you'll come back later and look.
Yeah.
And watching yourself, I hate watching myself. However,
It's
you
awful,
do- it's
but you
terrible.
have to.
You have to, because you critique yourself and you see, and you're always more critical of yourself than
Right,
others are.
right.
But you see little things, like you learn not to make your eyes dart because
Yes.
it looks like you're nervous.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of little things.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever I like very first started training, I would pretty much have like our directors in the back record it, and then I'd have them send it to me. So then I'd take it home and watch it, and then I would pretty much pause it like on my TV and then practice with whatever graphic that I had, if that
Okay,
made sense.
yeah, I got
So
you.
whatever I was
Yeah.
practicing earlier in the day, I would take that home and practice with it as well. And I feel like a lot of people are always stuck on like, oh, I hate listening to my voice. I hate listening to my voice. Wait until you hate the gestures that you do. Like, I feel like people, especially if you talk with your hands like I do, I'm sure y'all have noticed that at this point, which is why it's good I do the weather, because I get to talk with my hands.
I noticed that. I was going to bring that up, actually. It's true. I've seen it. She's talking about typing earlier.
Yes, exactly. So it took me a while. Like at first, I'd be holding my little clicker, and I'm going like this, and then I'm like, put your hands to the side or point at the screen. Okay, you do have to point at something. You can't just pretty much. That's what I was doing the whole time. But it took me. I mean, I got over watching myself probably in like 2 weeks because I was watching
Yeah,
it every day.
you're watching all
so
the time,
at
yeah.
some point, you almost like don't continue to hear yourself when you're really observe, like you're looking for something, you're looking for stuff, so you can start to like kind of ignore your voice. But I feel like that's one big thing that people, it's so hard for them to get over. It's like, oh, I don't want to hear how I sound, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you have to watch yourself so you can get better. And also I think part of it comes with like this, essentially, like meteorologist Shania Jackson, she's technically a character, and it's like, how do you want your character to come off? Like, obviously, yes, it is me, but there are certain things that there's a certain image that I would like to project. So am I speaking clearly when I'm talking about this certain thing? Am I speaking too fast? Am I speaking too slow? Or am I moving my hands too much? Like, there's an image that you want for yourself. So the only way to kind of figure out what that is to watch yourself and figure out what you don't really enjoy
Right.
coming from your presentation,
Sure.
And you do presentations and stuff in college, but they don't ever make you watch them back, really. Like,
No, they
even
don't.
in most,
Yeah.
most of your speaking classes, it's more about like your delivery whenever you're doing the speech. They don't ever make you analyze yourself afterwards. And I'm like, that would be
Which they should.
Yeah, that would be a good thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, you learn a lot by doing that.
Yeah.
So, Shania, here's a little known fact. I don't know if you knew this. I did the weather for 4 months at a TV station down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I did not know that.
I anchored there, and then I quit as being an anchor and did something else. And they called me up and they said, hey, our weatherman is actually going to, it was Air Force Reserve, or, one of the reserves. And he was going to be gone for 2 months. They said, would you fill in for 2 months? I'm like, sure. Shania, true disclosure here. I know as much about the weather as I do how to build this building.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. The weather's hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it. I'm not a meteorologist. But what they did was they had a meteorologist who worked on weekends, would do the forecast and get everything lined up for me.
And then you just talked about it.
And I talked about it. And the meteorologist who did that wasn't real happy because she thought she should be doing it, and
Right.
she's probably right. But they let me do it,
Yeah.
and it was a blast.
Yeah.
And then they, after 2 months, they said, well, he's going to be gone 2 more. Can you keep going? So I went 2 more months.
Yeah.
But I learned
Means
an
you did
appreciation-
good.
Well, I learned an appreciation for it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was fun.
It
and
is.
Then, and the thing that people don't realize, I'll give you an example. The first show I ever did, I called up my wife at the time, and I said, what'd you think? She goes, oh, my gosh. You really did well, but you were reading from a teleprompter, so I guess that's not so hard. And I said, uh-uh.
No, it wasn't.
There is no teleprompter.
I know.
And she's like, you were just ad-libbing? Yes.
Yeah.
So everybody doesn't know that. In being a meteorologist, you're just off the fly. It's
Yeah.
just you.
Right.
Right?
And I mean, even so, when I first started, obviously, I didn't have any weather background either. So I was in
Right.
that same situation. I was pretty much taking over. So Steve would do Daybreak. He'd put the forecast together, and then I would take over Steve's forecast. I didn't necessarily, I
Wasn't
mean,
yours yet,
obviously, if
yeah.
I had questions, I could ask him, oh, why did you put this? Or why are you thinking this? But for the most part, I also started like towards, I think we were in fall, so everything was very calm. We didn't have any active weather. There was no severe weather when I first started. I don't think we had a lot of snow that year either, so it just wasn't really a difficult time to be forecasting, which was great for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to answer too many questions that I didn't know the answers to at the time. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that, like, to be a forecaster, all you really need to know is what's the high-low situation, what's the wind going to be like, and if you think there's a chance of rain, I mean, you're kind of gambling. That's kind of playing with fire if you really don't know what you're doing
Yeah,
there. Because
yeah.
if you get it wrong, everyone is going to be furious, but not the point. But I think that a lot of people don't really understand that part of doing the weather, and I also think the reason that I can be and could be at the time successful at it was due to the fact that it's just a lot of communicating. Like, if you can
Yep.
understand what the weather service is saying, the weather service gives a daily synopsis every day of what they're expecting for the day. If you can take that weather jargon, break it down, figure out what the big words mean, anyone can give a forecast. Maybe you're not going to be able to do 5 hours of weather like I do every single morning, okay? But you will be able to at least get the general message across. So
Right.
if someone else was doing the forecast for you, and you see the points that you need to know, highs and lows, winds today, rain or not, you can definitely do the weather. And then I think, because that kind of came naturally to me, I think if you're a good communicator, you could also be in this situation if you're thinking about joining the weather. I then was like, okay, I want to know more. So then that's when I did online school with Penn State. And that's how I got
Okay.
the meteorologist title. That was in 2023 of January.
Yeah.
So October 2022 is when I switched over to weather, and then I started school that upcoming January.
So you're working while you're taking those courses? Was that
Online
tough?
school, obviously. I wasn't
Yeah,
going to Penn
yeah,
State.
yeah, right. Was that tough?
It was at first, especially because I had been out of school technically for a year, because my last semester of my senior year is when I was in DC.
Okay.
So pretty much like in that previous fall, that was my last time having any type of homework or
Yeah.
assignments. And then I came back from my internship, walked the stage, and then started my job here in June.
Yeah.
Or July. Came back in June, started working here in July. And then I hadn't done any school since that previous December, essentially. That was the last time I took a final exam.
Okay.
And so another difficult thing I think about the Penn State program, because it is a shorter program, it's like 2 years, 2.5 years, everything's accelerated. So when you're learning about like imagery, it's like radar imagery, satellite imagery, all the type infrared, all the types of imageries that
Yeah.
you could think of, you're learning those in that semester. And then the next semester is just like tropical. So that just
Okay.
means any type of moist air masses that have to
Yeah.
do with anything tropical. Essentially, they're all in the same thing. It's not like they broke it up by like, okay, you learn all radar stuff at once, and then we'll switch over to water vapor energy or imagery, and then we'll switch it. Like, everything was just kind of smushed together, which obviously I didn't want to be in school for that long, so that was
Right.
fine with
It
me.
was, you were good, yeah.
But it was an adjustment for sure. And the assignments weren't like test, homework, quizzes. It was just lab, 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 lab.
Okay.
There's never any ABC. So if you don't know the answer, you don't get to guess and cross your fingers. You
Yeah.
have to give the explanation on why you think that, they'll get 2 feet of snow because
Sure.
of XYZ elements coming up. And honestly, though, I think because the program was set up that way, that made it easier to learn because it's so easy to just memorize things and kind of coast through when you actually have to sit there and explain. And half the time, it was kind of nice because you could wind up getting points if you almost over-explained. Like maybe you don't know the term for it, but you know that, when the hot air mass is moving under the cold air mass and then you have whatever boundary coming, that's going to make for whatever situation. You would get points for that. So
I see.
it was easy to kind of overanalyze the situation in a way and put
Yeah.
too many words down, but not to a point where you're just like putting too many words to fill a word count because there's not a
Sure.
word count. It
Right,
still
right,
had to
right.
kind of make sense. But doing school and working during that time, I feel like it was difficult, but also the station knew exactly what I was doing. So they would work with me. Like if I ever had a lab due and my stuff wasn't done, I'd be like, can someone, work cover for me Sunday night or
Yeah.
cover for me Sunday
Yeah.
morning or whatever my shift was at the time. But I also think it was so helpful. Like I went from literally taking mean, median, and mode for, highs and lows. And
Yeah.
that's how I was deciding what I was doing
Right,
at
right.
first to like actually thinking about, okay, we've been at 100 for the past 3 days. I'm just going to play it safe and go with maybe 101 at the max for today. We're not going to have that large of a change. I understand the way the pressure systems are working. It also helps you geographically. I didn't know a lot about just regions in general.
Oh, yeah.
you
Regions
know?
make a huge difference,
Yeah.
don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a great program too.
Yeah.
That I
Learning
am
with a
super
fire
thankful
hose. I
for.
mean, really
Yeah.
strict knowledge.
And I think
Yeah.
also because it's a graduate program technically,
Uh-huh.
so you're not really starting with any basics because they're kind of expecting. It's a program meant for people who did environmental science that are wanting to go into TV. Like it's literally a broadcast meteorology program.
Okay.
So
Okay.
going in kind of with no background was, I think, a little more difficult for me, but at least this was my job. So,
Yeah.
like, I have homework questions. I'm calling John Robinson. I'm calling Matt Ernst,
You had good people to help you out there, didn't you?
exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did.
So now, because it was online, Penn State, it didn't mean you didn't have to be a Nittany Lion fan, even though you were a Penn State grad, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And, I
Kept your guns up.
I feel like maybe after year one, I was like, maybe I should dabble in their sport. You know what I mean? Especially after
Yeah.
we got Big Ten on NBC. I was like, maybe I
Right,
should
right.
dabble in their sports. No.
Didn't work that way.
I don't know anyone. I don't really care to know those.
And their
I'm sure-
uniforms
I'm
are
sure they're
ugly,
great.
Shania.
Listen, wait, navy blue's my favorite color.
Oh, well, it's a good color, but I'm just saying there's no personality to the Penn State
No,
uniform.
I agree. And what do you mean knitney?
Yeah, Nittany. What's a
Yeah,
Nittany?
okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
That's what people probably say about us.
Yeah.
What's a matador?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we know. We
Yeah.
know. I mentioned Arlington, so I'm just going to bring this up briefly.
yeah.
Okay, briefly. I did Permian High School football.
Okay.
From 85 to 95. And they're known as Mojo. Have you heard of Mojo?
Yeah.
Okay. So I did Mojo for 10 years. And we played the Arlington Colts at Texas Stadium. This is the old Texas Stadium where the Cowboys played. I believe it was 1988. It was the most incredible game I had ever
Really?
broadcast. I did play-by-play, and it was an amazing game. So Arlington was ahead. I think it was 21-0 at the half. They were just trouncing us. We kind of caught fire in the second half and got a touchdown, 21-7. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, Arlington scored again, and it's 35-7. Okay, I'll quit dragging it out. Permian comes back, and they tie up the score late in the game, and they had a tiebreaker at this time. So the first tiebreaker, I forget all the tiebreakers, but Permian actually won on penetrations, which is the number of times you get inside the 20, but you
Okay.
don't score.
Right.
And so we won the game like 5-4 on penetrations. But an exciting game. I'm sorry that your team was on the losing end, but it was one of the games where I understood what Mojo was all about. True
Right.
story. It was a fun game. So
See, we didn't have great teams.
You didn't?
Whenever
Oh.
I was in high school, I was a cheerleader all 4 years.
Yeah.
And I want to say maybe my junior year, we had a pretty good year in volleyball. Made it to playoffs. Made it like further. We normally would make first round, but I feel like when you're 6A school and I don't know. I feel like all of the schools were normally making first round. That was like never a big deal. It was when
Yeah.
you got to like second and third that
Right,
it was
you had
like,
to
okay,
keep
you
going.
got a run going kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
And so I think our volleyball team made it, past first round my junior year. And I do remember my senior year, our football team made it to like second or third round. And I was like, they did this for me. Like, I'm graduating. Like,
Just because I'm a senior. It's
yes,
time.
this is like the best year ever. Yeah, but we never won. So our basketball team was not very good, which made me sad.
But you enjoyed being a cheerleader.
Yeah, I
okay,
did.
Okay.
I did.
Shania, I've got a rapid fire round that I'm going to
Okay.
throw at you. We're going to
Ooh.
take a break to give you time to prepare. No, actually, you're not going to have time to prepare because this is all off the cuff. This is all ad lib, but you can handle it.
Okay.
So we'll get to know you. We'll really learn the real ins and outs of Shania Jackson
Okay.
coming up in just a moment. So we'll be back with that in just a little bit. You're watching KCBD Now with Kurt Kaiser. Shania Jackson, my guest today from KCBD, the morning show. Good day, Lubbock, and we'll be back with more. Again, it's our quick fire round. We'll learn a lot more about Shania coming up in just a moment.